Hey guys, it's Tuesday night, January 4th. Happy New Year again. This is Jamie Russo, CEO of the Global Workspace Association. And tonight we're going to talk about phone answering, as in answering calls for potential clients. So we did a phone survey before the holidays of 295 shared workspaces around, so mostly co-working spaces, I should specify, spaces that identified themselves as co-working because we were looking for some co-working specific data around the country. And we got responses from about 85 of them when we called. And we were looking for some really specific data. We had a list of questions we were asking to each manager that answered the phone, but we had a really interesting insight when we started making these calls, which is that the spaces were not answering their phone, which really surprised us. Like, to a really strong tune of, so we called 295 spaces. On the first try, 50% of those calls went to voicemail. On the second try, 34% of our calls went to voicemail. And that just totally blew us away because the space has no idea whether or not we're calling to try to get a tour or ask them survey questions, right? So my hypothesis is that a lot of these spaces are not double staffed. So they have one staff person who's managing the space, and he or she is where the member or off making coffee or giving a tour to another potential member, or, managing an event, or bringing in someone who's using a conference room. Who knows? There are a lot of reasons for people to be away from their desk. But if we're talking about lead generation and making sure your space is full, answering your phone is really, really important. So a couple of things here. I just want to talk through a couple of stats on my computer to kind of drive this home. So there's a stat out there in general customer service that 40% of callers will hang up after 60 seconds and 34% of them will never call back. So they don't have a lot of empathy for the fact that you're busy. They're simply not going to call back, and they'll probably call your competitor down the street. And as the number of shared workspaces proliferate, there will be other options for folks. So you want to take this pretty seriously. So let's look at it this way. So if you miss 2.5 calls per day, that would be 600 leads per year. If 34% of those 600 leads don't call you back, you've lost 204 leads. And you can apply your conversion rate. So if you get 204 leads in the door, what percentage of those do you convert? And that's the lifetime value of each customer that you've lost. So if you convert 30% of your leads, each lead, say it's worth $12,000, if on average your members take an office, that would maybe on the high end for a co-working space that's more focused on open seating. But if you have offices and that's $1,000 a month, you're talking about $12,000 a year. So if you've lost $734,000. So you don't want to miss those phone calls. And if you're interested in this math, we are posting this to a blog post on the globalworkspace.org site. So you can take a look at the article, the blog post, and look at the math. So we totally get it. Your staff is busy and you probably don't have a good solution for having them answer the phone more consistently. So think about a couple of solutions that are out there. So I have a space in Palo Alto, Enter Space Palo Alto, and so it's a 5,600 square foot space. So that's, you can't have 2 staff members and be profitable with that size of a space. So when Kyla's away from the phone, we use a live answering service through CloudVO, and that's cloudvo.com. And DaVinci Virtual Office Solutions also offers live answering service, and they also offer web chat, live web chat. So those options are, if someone calls your work phone number, then there's a live person who you can train to answer the phone as you would like it to be answered. And that way when someone calls, they're getting a live person who acts as a representative of the company. They can take a message and you can call them back and arrange a tour, or they can get an email address or whatever's most convenient for the caller. And same thing with live web chat. If you have it on your website and you are not, that you can have, it's hard, so you can DIY live web chat, which we tried for a while, and I personally loved because I loved connecting with people who were on the website. It was like talking to potential customers, as if you were texting with them on your phone. And the rapport that you can build when you do it yourself is phenomenal. But it's really hard to staff that. So same problem with answering the phone. If you're not at your computer, then you miss the chat. So you can install an app that allows someone remotely to answer live web chat for you. And same thing as a phone call, they can just take the steps of getting the lead's information. So it's wonderful to have your community managers or your office managers focused on spending time with your members, but we need the space to be full. So you want to make sure that you're paying a lot of attention to your lead funnel, and that means answering the phone and getting people scheduled for tours so that you can do your amazing job of showing off your space and your community and getting people converted. So don't be the 50% of people who don't have their phone answered on the first time, and make sure you look into some live answering solutions. Again, that's cloudvo.com or DaVinci Virtual Office Solutions, and we will include those links in the blog post. Thanks.